Shalom, party people, and welcome to the 12th Tee. It is January 20th, 2023. Rocking a early morning ruck march, 30-pound bag, attempting just over 3 miles in 45 minutes, and making semi-decent progress. Let's see, we're rocking about 5:35 in the morning at the time of this filming, and already done about two and a half of that attempted 3.5 miles, so well on track to knocking this distance out. Just me today, no JD Stone with me. He's been a whole lot of fun to work out with. Yesterday I was rolling out of bed, getting ready to go for a run, and I met with him to set some pacing, and I told him, man, I'm very lacking in motivation today. If it were up to me, we'd just do 2 miles. So let's do 5 to kind of fight that attitude of I don't want to do this. And it was actually a pretty impressive 5. We ended up doing about 9-minute miles for that circuit. It was a whole lot of fun. Running is always a lot better with a partner. I'm on my second attempt of shooting this video, and I don't really want to repeat myself, but we're 20 days in to a new year if you go by this calendar, and this is a time of year when people tend to have a lot lower morale. It's about a month after people have festive gatherings with friends and family. New Year's resolutions have failed by about now because they've realized they just can't make the mental sacrifice to do what they're doing. I was, a few years back, a member of Planet Fitness, and about 3 weeks before the turn of the year, everybody would start showing up to the gyms who was serious about their resolutions. And then about January 1st, January 2nd, people would start showing up who, had made a air quotes commitment, and they'd be there for a few weeks and then be gone. And like the third day of the year, the EMTs showed up to the gym to come get somebody who decided that they were going to get a whole year's worth of resolution done in 20 minutes on the treadmill. And somebody who was not in good shape at all, not really knowing what they were doing, and overexerted themselves. And I don't think they caused themselves to have a heart attack, but they were trying to do a whole lot more running than they were capable of doing on that treadmill. And I know they passed out. I know they fell off the treadmill, and I know they had to go to the hospital and get checked out. So if you are gonna try and get a whole year's worth of resolution workouts done, it's probably best that you don't, and you pace yourself. Just a thought. But back on the topic of this tending to be a depressing time of the year, credit card bills are coming in, and People are realizing that they got way more month left before that next paycheck, and they're out of money. And if you're like the average American, you're more than $9,000 in credit card debt, let alone any other debt that you're carrying. And it could just be at a point that you feel alone and that you're drowning. And if this is a really dark time for you, I encourage you to reach out to somebody, even if you don't think that they'll listen or they'll have time for you. My personal thoughts and feelings are I would much rather a phone call that may seem inconvenient. I'd rather talk to somebody that feels like they may be bothering me by calling me than go to their funeral because they didn't see any hope in this world. And I'm here to tell you that there is hope, and there's no quick fixes for any of this. There is a whole lot of merit in talking to people. There's merit in seeking mental health. There is merit in changing your life. But lifestyle change doesn't happen overnight. I've heard psychologists talk about changing your diet and your exercise routine and going to bed at a reasonable hour being the start, but nowhere near being the solution. People will say, oh, just work out, just spend time, checking boxes or whatever. And that's a good place, because depression does thrive in people who don't have good, stable, regular routines. But there's people who are deep into routines that struggle with depression. So that's not the end-all be-all answer, but it may be a decent start. I will argue that the best start is with meaningful contact with other people, because people are the best and the worst part of life. I would highly recommend friends and or family that want the best for you, and not what's best this second, but what's best long term, and seeking those people out and spending time with them. This is a really subpar anecdote, but I was just talking about it, running with Mr. J.D. Stone. It was really pushing me to be better, because number one, he's a really good runner. I know he slows down for me, and that's very generous of him, but pushing me to be better. And we want friends in life who push us to be the best versions of ourselves that we can. Me being who I am, I seriously advocate for finding hope and peace and life change to where he's causing you to trust him more and follow him more. Finding all of that in Messiah. And when he says, go do this, your response is, yes, sir. And even when it doesn't make sense, you know that he has provided everything that's necessary and will surprise you with how he follows through and comes through when it doesn't seem like it's possible. That being said, life's not going to be easy following Messiah. It's not going to be all smiles and rainbows. It's going to be hard. But anything in life that is worth pursuing, worth doing, worth real meaning is going to be hard. That's why at the end of all of my videos, I tell you guys, go do hard things. life is hard. Waking up every day and just going through a normal day, it can be hard. And if that's you, reach out to somebody, talk to them, and tell them what's going on. Some of the training that I've been through for work has actually been, it's okay to ask somebody if they're contemplating taking their own life. Because that becomes so taboo. It's like, oh, we don't want to ask somebody, we don't want to give them that idea. Usually when you ask somebody if they're contemplating that, you won't get the answer of, gee, I hadn't thought about that, thanks for the suggestion. It will be one of two answers you'll actually get. You'll get either the yes, that's a problem, or no, I'm not in that mental space right now. And the yes, obviously, we need to get help for that person and be help for that person too. But, that's a multi-person help situation. That's not just a one person, but it does start with one. But the no answer that you get, it may be a lie. And you can press for more. You can let someone know you care. But if they intend to lie to you about it, they intend to lie to you about it. So, just thoughts. This is a depressing time of year. I'm going to shift gears. I don't want to talk about depression this whole time. I want to actually dwell on some other things. But just know, if you're depressed, if you're contemplating taking your own life, there are people who care, and there is hope, and you should definitely reach out to somebody, because I know people who are still alive because they've done that. Going through on 75 hard, there's different aspects of this program. There's the 2 workouts that everybody talks about, and the other tough. I've got this cycle scheduled in such a way that I've got good recovery sessions where I'm doing deep stretches and balance and reaction work to offset the really demanding workouts where either I'm rucking like this, which 30-pound rucks aren't terrible. It's when you get to the 50 pounds and you are trying to do it at a very brisk pace that it gets hard. I've been saying that rucking 2 miles is worse than running 10. And to a certain point it is. I mean, obviously the 10 running takes longer than the rucking 2, but it is very different throwing a weighted bag on and doing a nice brisk walk. It's different muscles, and it's definitely more energy. There's the runs, which the days that I have Mr. JD Stone with me, those are very bearable. And the days that I do them by myself is mostly just get them over with as quick as you can and move on. And then there's body weight calisthenics that add to it. I do have some fitness challenges that I'm working on. I have an 8-mile run that I'm training towards for this month, and I can do 5 fairly reasonably right now, so adding 3 more miles isn't going to be night and day. It's just going to be a little bit longer run. The 1,000 burpee challenge I've set for myself this month, which successful completion is not a requirement of 75 hard, but a solid attempt is. And I had a personal best the other day doing 300, where I was quite proud of that. At the beginning of this month, I was struggling to do 20 burpees. So I think that's solid progress, but it would be realistic that I don't think I'll hit 1,000 burpees in a single workout. I think a respectable goal for the next 11 days is I may be able to bump that 300 to 500 if I really get after it. That being said, it's not going to stop me from trying to hit that 1,000. I just don't think I'll get it in a single workout, but I will definitely attempt for the day to see if I can have a good one at 500, and then throughout the day try and do them in sets and equal out to that 1,000. But we'll see how that goes. That's the fitness part of 75 hard, and everybody talks about it. Obviously the challenges are extra for me, but the fitness, while difficult, I don't think is what makes this program so hard. One of those workouts is outside, so it's what you do in the morning and an afternoon, if not an evening one. And if you can set a semi-decent schedule and have some level of flexibility for the worst weather that you need to avoid, like the lightning storm that turned into a out of nowhere snowstorm that we had about a week and a half ago. You know, obviously staying out of that one, I shifted my morning outdoor workout to a morning indoor workout and did my afternoon outdoor workout and got by okay. So having some level of flexibility is there. But the 2 workouts are what I guess people focus on about 75 hard, but it's not really what it's all about. The diet, you know, you just pick something that'll push you, but you'll still be well nourished for what you need to do. So that's really not that bad. It's hard. I crave sugar, even though I've been removing the vast majority of sugar from my life, other than just a few grams of added sugar here and there. The highest concentration of sugar that I get is the peanut butter that I put on my oatmeal in the mornings, and that's like 3 grams. So obviously I'll have the natural sugars that exist in fruit if I have like an apple or a banana. But as far as added sugar, I've been staying away as much as possible. I crave sweet and sugary foods, but I mean, some of the fruit that I eat, I'm like, wow, that's very overpowering. So I really don't know how I would handle going back to something sugary, but I can say this, I've permanently given up high concentrations of added sugar, because the last time I decided I was going to eat something that wasn't good for me, I seriously overdid it and felt awful for a few days. I'm like, you know what, I'm done feeling this way. So while I want to eat a whole bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups, and I want to do everything to stuff my face, I understand that that's not good for me. I have no idea what this car behind me is doing. anyway, the diet, I guess, is part of it. The 10 pages of nonfiction self-development reading has been good. I've been currently working through Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David, who is the guy behind the Valuetainment YouTube channel, and that one is definitely a strategy based book where you're going in and making assessments of who you are, making assessments of what your capabilities are, working on your ability to rationally approach problems, building your team up, equipping your team, and then making serious power moves so that way you can advance forward in life. And it's a very informative, thought-provoking book. It's not like it's necessarily new information, but it is definitely an amalgamation of some of the better business books that are out there. A takeaway that I have from it is the difference between an entrepreneur and an intrapreneur. I didn't know what an intrapreneur was before I read the book. And the whole concept behind an intrapreneur being somebody who works within an existing business and has a niche area that they hone and refine and make themselves indispensable. And I would consider myself as striving towards that more than being an entrepreneur and striking out on my own. I think I'm more wired for the entrepreneur mindset, and you can still do very well for yourself going that route. It's just knowing how to be valuable and how to spark more value. So the 10 pages of reading has been decent. There's days where I speed read, and then there's other days where I'm able to sit down and really go through things. I add Bible reading on top of the regular reading. And right now I'm doing a pet project where I'm going through the Old Testament and the journaling Bible that I have and highlighting everything that points forward to the Messiah. And there's a whole lot. Some of it are loose connections that are just like, oh, hey, there's something here. And others are like direct prophecies where it's talking about who the Messiah is, what he'll do, where he'll come from, when he'll come. So that has been a whole lot of fun, and I'm working my way through Psalms right now, having started in Genesis. Spend a few more days in Psalms, move over to Proverbs, and then I continue working my way through all of that. And anyone who says that the Messiah is not in the Old Testament or very vague, haven't spent much time actually looking for him in the Old Testament, because let me tell you, he's there. He's very present in the Old Testament. It's worth your time. It has definitely been studies like that have set me on the trajectory that I'm on. It's worth it. Oh, let's see. What else is there in 75 Hard? We've got gallon water drinking. That's something that hasn't been a huge challenge for me. I know it is for a lot of people, but I've spent really the last about 15 years where at minimum I've taken in 3/4 of a gallon every day. I don't think there's been a day where I've taken less than that in years. So a gallon isn't that difficult. There's days where I'll drink 2 gallons. So not a difficult challenge, but it does get some people because there's plenty of people who don't drink enough water. The no alcohol thing isn't difficult for me because I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in years. And I was never a large consumer of alcohol. I grew up in a house where I did not see alcohol abused. My mom, she would have a few glasses of wine, but my dad works in the aviation industry, and I've never seen him consume more than one beverage, one serving of alcohol in a 24-hour period of time. And when I did consume alcohol, which was not very often, I modeled that. It would either be a single beer or a single shot of liquor. And it wouldn't be, oh, I'm only going to have one right now until I get to the next one. It was, in a 24-hour window of time, I'm only going to have this one. And the most I really ever consumed was when I went to go visit a friend. We had beer at a tavern one night, and I had one beverage. And then the next day, we bought a 6-pack, and we each had one, I think sometime after lunch. And that was it. That was the most I've had in the least amount of time. I've probably consumed 10 beverages total in my life since starting alcohol. And so I really don't miss it. I think it's been 5 or 6 years since I've had a drink. Not my thing. I'll tell you, I miss tobacco. Gave up tobacco about 10 years ago, and I still wake up in the mornings on some days going, man, today would be a great day to smoke. And all I smoked were cigars. I would get a really fat 60 ring gauge cigar and hang out, smoke meat on the grill, and spend anywhere from 3 to 6 hours just enjoying a really nice cigar. I think the most I ever did was 2 of those cigars in one day, but I would have a few a month. And I'll tell you, that's a lot of nicotine. And I don't think I had a dependency by any means, but I was asked to stop, and I was like, oh, this won't be that big of a deal. I don't have a dependency on this. I'll just stop smoking because I know it makes you uncomfortable, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable. So that's fine by me. And I still miss tobacco. So now, I don't want to make people in my life stumble. I don't want to cause somebody who really struggles with something to have a rocky foundation because they see someone they look up to doing something that they seriously struggle with. So yeah, that's fine, but I know 2-pack-a-day smokers who are trying to quit, and I know what it feels like to crave nicotine. So I can't imagine having a serious dependency on something like that and have the cravings last forever. So I know that's not the same as missing alcohol, because I don't really miss alcohol, but 75 Hard doesn't have a stop smoking tonight. It probably should. But my desire for nicotine on some days, I think, is the closest thing I've ever felt to the people who just crave alcohol, and not in a dependency way, but just I could use a drink today. There are days where I'm just like, man, smoking a cigar would really take the edge off. So just thoughts on that, I guess. Let's see, there's workouts, there's water consumption, there's no alcohol consumption, there's the diet, there's the reading, and then there's the daily progress picture. I have been very faithful with my daily progress pictures. I've missed them a couple of times in the past, but it's trying to set that routine of after you do your morning workout, snap your progress picture and move on. I was looking through them yesterday and I realized that I don't think I've been in as reasonable shape as I am right now in a very long time. And I've been doing this for a while. And there's that element of, oh man, I've stumbled a couple of times with 75 hard recently because I'm not cutting myself any slack. I'm trying to give this more than just the old college try. This is supposed to be a best attempt. And with all of the progress that has been made, I'm actually quite proud of where I'm at as far as physique. It's not that 75 hard is about having all the best physique ever. It's a discipline thing, but the benefits are that as your mind goes to a more disciplined place, your body will follow. I also have been doing daily weigh-ins, and they are to help tell more of the story than just what the photo shows. The weigh-ins are also to help keep me accountable with my diet, because my biggest problem is portion control. And this diet is focusing on portions for sure. And so the weigh-in, I think, helps demonstrate what's going on there too, because I take photos of my food as part of what I'm doing and I send them to an accountability group. But it's very easy to take a photo at a different angle and manipulate the perception of the food. So that's that. But thank you for joining me for my morning ruck. Tomorrow, well, actually, I guess tonight at sunset, but tomorrow begins another Shabbat for me and my family. It's a very, very special time for us. It's also Food Bank Day, which we view Food Bank as sheep in a ditch, donkey in a ditch situation. We wouldn't withhold from doing good on Shabbat, and it's not that doing good is the end goal. It's just something that we have decided is for us. We want to help and love on others. I'll probably have a food bank update on Sunday as part of my 75 hard update video, which this one has not been designed as an update video. It's just been more of my thoughts on where 75 hard is going for me. But something to consider with what these food banks are doing right now is food quantity is low, volunteers are low, morale is low. The food that people are getting is of substandard, and just something to be aware of. Now is the time to be stacking food to the rafters if you have the ability to do so. Just increasing what you're picking up at the grocery store and your non-perishable foods that you normally eat is a great place to start. And that's a good note to end this on. Go do hard things.